So be honest, how often do you think about money? Is it daily? Is it hourly? Do you ask yourself questions like, if I just had more money, more savings, a higher net worth, life would be so much better? Most of us assume that money is the key to happiness. And if there's one thing I've learned in life and in my career journey so far as an almost 29-year-old, it's that money buys happiness until it doesn't. I've had an up and down relationship with money for most of my life so far. On one hand, I'm obsessed with money. I love checking my investments, learning ways to make more money. Hell, I even talk about it all day on YouTube. I'm a bit of a workaholic and money drives that, definitely. Like, I want to do cool things. I want to have financial freedom. And that's a big part of my day to day. Then I look around on social media and it seems like it's all everyone talks about in the success and business community. It's in the songs, the videos, social media, really everywhere. Lots of people base their entire life around money. And a lot of it's valid because it's awesome to have money. And after all, you need it to exist in society and to do cool things. But then hidden in this money pursuing culture, sometimes I see a misery about those who are on this money grind. They forego every other thing in life to just focus on money. And lately I've asked myself, are we grinding the wrong game? Like, is money truly the thing that we should be fully focused on? I'm coming to the realization that it's not everything in life. And in fact, I would say that the most important things to have in your life you cannot buy with money. Everybody thinks that when they make money or they achieve a certain financial goal that they'll magically just be happy. And it's becoming clear to me that that's not true. I'm worried that our generation's too obsessed with money and that it might harm society and our own happiness. So I started asking myself these questions, and for Why Learn Wednesday today, we're going to be diving into them. Is making money truly the best goal to have, or should we value pursuing other things? Why is our generation so obsessed with money? I mean, what circumstances of our generation are causing this? And we're also going to talk about what money can and can't buy and what it can help us with. I don't want us to waste time grinding the wrong game just to work really hard and then be unhappy afterwards. I want everyone watching this to live a happy and fulfilling and comfortable life, and money should be used as a tool to make you happier, not your one and only goal. So let's start with my story about how accumulating money made me happy until it didn't. So immediately upon entering the working world, I became obsessed with money. I was learning all about investing, I was maximizing my salary, I was working more hours to make more money and get promotions. I also spent a lot of time studying the FIRE community. I loved the idea of working hard, becoming financially independent, saving money, putting your money to work for you, and then eventually having freedom to do cool things and even quit your job. I was also at the time working for some big companies with strong financial presences in America, and it was impossible for me to not think about money pretty much on a daily basis. I remember when I got my first full-time job at 22, and it was my first taste of, independence. I had enough money to cover all my bills and then some, and that was pretty cool because my income went from literally paycheck to paycheck to about 70 grand a year, and that was a big happiness jump to go from student life where I was eating ramen noodles and living cheap with no money. So now I had a level of comfort, and now I had the ability to do things like eat what I wanted, take vacations, live in a nicer place if I wanted to, and I had less stress if an unexpected bill came up, and it was a clear upgrade in my life and made me happier. That buffer and cushion gave me huge peace of mind. Then as the years progressed in my career, I noticed something. When I started working as a full-time engineer, my salary was about 70K. Then after a few years, I got to 100K, and then in my peak before I left, it was about 140K. The money I was making kept going up and up and up, to the point where it was significantly higher than what I was spending. But my happiness stayed the same, or even began to decline, because my day-to-day life was not very enjoyable. I was a zombie coasting through, working on projects that I just honestly didn't give a shit about. And this thrust me into a quarter-life crisis moment, where I was like, chasing more money is not really doing it for me. I need to fix these other problems in my life first. Lots of time, my happiness was correlated with other things. The friends in my life, making memories, traveling, family time, the work I was actually doing, and my relationships. It wasn't based on what I was making that month. Now, some of these things in this list, money can buy, but some of it money can't. There are a lot of studies on money and happiness. Originally, there was a common study that's always quoted stating that after about 75 grand a year in salary, your happiness flattens out when you add more money. This was in the early 2010s, so it's about 100 to 105K adjusted for today's dollars. And I would say that this lines up with my experience. The moment that I had that big salary jump and became comfortable, it definitely led to an increase in happiness because my life changed a lot and I was comfortable. Then as it kept growing, it just wasn't adding much. Once I had enough to live the life I wanted comfortably, and I don't really want anything crazy. I just want a nice apartment, money for nice meals, money to invest, have a healthy lifestyle, and go on some trips. So I had everything I needed, and more money wasn't making my life better because I wasn't really enjoying my day-to-day. Nowadays, my salary's gone down significantly since I quit my job, but I have a happiness spike for sure because I enjoy my days more and enjoy working on what I love to work on. I have more freedom, and I still have that cushion. Now, some newer studies contradict this old money study. New studies have come out saying that up to 500,000, you see some happiness increases. Although the higher your salary is, the more your happiness grows slowly. So obviously it depends on a lot of factors. It's what you want in life. If you want to have a family, you're going to need more money. If you want to spend lavishly, that's also something you need money for. But more money far from guarantees your happiness. I had a buddy who graduated into a really nice finance job. He was making more than all of my other friends by a wide margin, like hundreds of thousands a year. But the job was awful. He couldn't take breaks. Someone else owned his entire day. And he was out of it after a few years just because he did not enjoy his life at that point. I had a few people in my life who are very wealthy, and sometimes people with a lot less are much happier. Some of my happiest friends have a little bit more, simple lives, and they enjoy their day-to-day. And I really believe people don't value your day-to-day life enough when it comes to happiness. So if money might not matter as much as we think, why are we so obsessed with it as a generation? I've been thinking about this. Like, is our generation too obsessed with money, or is it just a byproduct of our environment and the difficult economic times? Now, I don't think this obsession comes from nowhere. Surveys show that 75% of Gen Z and millennials rank money as their number one stressor, above health, above relationships, and politics as well. And honestly, can you blame us? Like, rents outpaced inflation in almost every major city. Buying a home feels impossible because the average starter home is 13 times the average income in some markets. 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, so that comfort that I had, that cushion that I had, just isn't available to most Americans, unfortunately. I took to my subscribers and gave a few surveys asking about money, and by far, the thing that people said they'd love to improve in their life is their financial situation. And on top of that, most people said they'd even prefer to be in a job they aren't passionate about just to be financially comfortable. And that's very significant to me, because for me, I thought a little bit differently about the situation. I prefer to spend my day-to-days doing what I love, but I acknowledge at this point in my life, I'm in a comfortable financial situation, so that takes a lot of that money stress off of me. So I don't think it's that our generation is necessarily obsessed with money. I think we're just trying not to drown sometimes. I mean, we got to separate personal obsession from a system that just got way more expensive over time. It's the times that are really shaping us. Like, we need money to afford these basic things, and you really need a lot of money to be in a good situation, even to just buy a house. And then on top of this, you have social media, you got flex culture, fear of missing out, and you see all the people winning on Instagram, and a lot of these are not normal examples, and I think this drives a lot of the pressure and the obsession as well. It's pretty tough out there nowadays. So I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that a lot of great things in life, money can't buy. The bad news is they're also kind of hard to find. So a lot of the things that made me the most happy, money can maybe help you with, but it can't just outright buy. So let's talk about a few of these things. So health is a big one. Money can make it easier to eat better, to get good health care and join a nice gym, but it can only go so far. I mean, look at a guy like Steve Jobs. He had all the money in the world and billions of dollars, and he couldn't get past cancer. So if you have great health, that is something that you shouldn't take for granted, and money cannot buy that. And a rich guy who is in poor health would probably trade all his money just to have what you have right now. Also, a friend that will pick up the phone and help you out at 2 a.m. if something goes wrong is invaluable. Like, money isn't going to get you these deep friendships. I'm thankful to have a lot of guys in my life that I've known for decades, and they'd have my back and I'd have theirs. And these are guys I could, just call any time of the day, and I'm sure they'd help me out, and I would do the same for them. Obviously, money can help you, do more things and do more things with friends, but it's not going to get you those loyal friends. And I think dating is very similar. Like, money can certainly help with dating, but it doesn't seal the deal. Rich guys struggle with dating too, because being rich opens up another set of problems, that they might only be with you because of your money. If you're in a relationship and you're not rich, you know that they probably actually just love you then. Money helps you get your foot in the door, but it can't make someone fall in love with you. You can use your money to get these dates, but it can't get you that really loyal, loving relationship where they choose to love you and not your money. Like, I'd rather be a guy making 50 grand a year with a wife and kids who loves me than Jeff Bezos with his current wife. I'm going to go out on a wild limb here and say that marriage is probably not going to last. And in terms of working, you need enough money to be comfortable, but after that, I'd much rather be the guy spending his days doing what he loves than working a soulless job or getting more money just for the purpose of having more money. Money can help with these things, community, health, friends, dates, but it can't seal the deal for you. A lot of money has limits. Money is really limited in terms of what it can do for your happiness. Here are some questions to ask yourself to get an idea of where you need to go from here. I love the Monday morning test. So this means that when you wake up on Monday, How do you feel about going to work? Are you dragging yourself out of bed? Or are you excited and going to work on something you enjoy? I used to make a lot more money than I do now, but it was kind of a drag. When I woke up on Monday, I was like, damn it, I gotta go drag myself into work today. Now I'm more excited. I'm working on stuff I own. I get to go get clients, make a video, or just give myself the day off if I want to. It's less money, but it's more flexibility and I would say more fun. Another question, and I want you to think about this deeply. If your income doubled tomorrow, would your life actually feel different? Like if you went from 50K to 100K a year, that would be a pretty big jump, and you probably feel good for a long time after that. I'm worried that after a bit of time, you'll just feel the same again after a while, especially if you didn't like your job. I think a lot of guys listening to this who even make 100K, if your salary doubled, would you really be happier or just be in the same situation with a little bit more money? Jim Carrey once said, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they've ever dreamed of so that they can see that it's not the answer. On your deathbed, are you going to wish that you worked more hours, that you had a few $100,000 extra? Or are you going to wish you spent more time with people, making more memories? Many people don't have that regret of working or earning more. And listening to old people talk about this and the regrets hits different. I highly recommend checking that out. But a lot of them don't cite money on their deathbed, and I think that's significant. So there's one final question you need to ask yourself. How much do you need to be happy and comfortable? What's your enough number? The point where chasing more won't add to your life. Here's the truth. Money does matter, but past a certain point, it stops adding happiness and starts wrecking our attention, our relationships, sometimes our health. For me, I learned this the hard way. My income was climbing, but my stress didn't go away. My life still stayed the same. And what did make me happier wasn't another raise. It was building that cushion and then going and doing what I wanted. That safety net gave me the peace of mind and the freedom to say no and the chance to focus on things that actually mattered, which was more fulfilling work, buying my time back, buying my freedom back, and focusing more on health and relationships. So focus on building that cushion and think about your own kind of enough number. I'm not talking about the fantasy endless millions here, but the baseline you need to live comfortably and just have that backup plan to where you have total peace of mind. That number's powerful because once you hit it, chasing more money is not going to improve your life that much, and it might even distract you from the problems you need to be focused on. And a lot of times I found that if you're working on what you love, like money's going to come, money's going to follow. So instead of grinding endlessly, use money as a tool to rewire your life. Buy back your time, whether that's outsourcing things or taking just a break from work. You can do that. You spend it on energy, right? Fitness, better food, better habits, and things that actually give you life. Now, use your money to strengthen your connections. Schedule that call, book that trip, and go make that memory of a lifetime. The most underrated status symbol isn't all the luxurious things you can buy. It's just having that cushion and then spending each day the way you'd like. That cushion is what lets you sleep better, take risks, and say no to things that drain you. I've seen both sides of this. If you had an extra $500 a month, let's say, where would you put it? Would you use it to take more time off, to get better sleep, get closer with your friends, pay down debt, spend it on a hobby that makes you happy? You got to think about money as a tool to make you happier. Money does not stop mattering, but after a certain point, the smartest move isn't chasing more, it's just using what you have to buy back your life. So just some final thoughts on this. Money really does buy happiness until it doesn't. Past a certain point, it just buys you options. And if you don't choose the right ones, it's going to buy you misery. So don't waste time grinding the wrong game. Build that cushion, set your boundaries, then invest in the things that money can't buy. Health, love, friends, and purpose. So that's it for Weiler on Wednesday. Let me know what you think and what makes you the happiest, and we'll see you in the next one.